Hello and welcome back to Chasing the Target. It's me and Faz today hosting, and we will be looking at the T20 World Cup finals. First of all, Faz, have you recovered, man, from yesterday?
Not yet, man. I'm still having flashbacks and shivers in the night. So Surya Kumar's shot is coming. KL Rahul is coming in my nightmares always. Uh, yeah, I mean, it's going to be difficult to recover from this because there were a lot of expectations after what the performances that we had.
Mhm.
And to lose so in such a bad manner, it's going to be a little hard. But yeah, I mean, you will have to obviously come,
Yeah.
to a realization that these things happen and sort of move on.
Yeah, man. The main discussion is this, like even on Twitter and everything, is just like it's similar to the discourse that was happening last year after the World Cup. But unfortunately, as Indian fans, honestly, for the last 10 years in big tournaments, it has been heartbreak. So I completely understand from that point of view. But if you look at it from a neutral perspective, now all eyes will be in that on that final in the MCG. It's a repeat of the '92 World Cup. Babar Azam turning into Imran Khan, the corner Tigers versus England, and this is a bit different England. This is a very aggressive England. This is an England who have changed their template since Owen Morgan took over in 2015 after the World Cup debacle, and maybe it's something that India also have to look at. To come on the episode, we'll have the eye test where we look at the road map of both teams, and then we'll have some stats as well in a stat attacks section to compare the individual performances so far in from both teams. But if you look at it, this tournament has been full of surprises, and that's why maybe not a lot of people would have predicted this as a final. You can say you did, but that was when the semifinals was announced. But if you look at from the start of the World Cup, maybe we wouldn't have said England Pakistan final.
Yeah, I think, I mean, we would probably have had England in our minds to
Yeah.
a certain extent. Probably we could say England were looking very good. But yeah, we never thought like someone like Pakistan would go out of the World Cup almost and like make a comeback. This is like something out of a movie, a sci-fi movie where you see those, rockets going up till the planet, like all the way up into space and then just coming back to Earth. Something of the sorts. But yeah, I mean, this is like a script that can be written. It's cricket. It's always been like this. I mean, as much as I hate it, but I would really like to, like shout out to Pakistan and all of the teams, like the whole team, because it's something that you can't do. Like it's so hard after losing to Zimbabwe, and after losing to a couple of teams that you're not ideally going to lose to,
फिर
and
नेदरलैंड्स पे
coming back,
बैंक करना
huh?
फिर नेदरलैंड्स पे बैंक करना है, expecting someone like Netherlands or Zimbabwe to do an upset, and that also worked in their favor.
Yeah, and I mean, despite that, I mean, coming after those losses against India and Zimbabwe, and coming and beating a South
Oh,
Africa, which was
yeah.
looking like a dominant squad,
Yeah.
and beating them very, very phenomenally, like with a very convincingly and easy. Uh, and I mean, luck favors the brave. I think वही हो गया यहाँ पे situation के भाई एक के बाद एक result उनको आ गया, एंड
Mhm.
अनफॉर्चुनेटली अपन ब्रेव होके भी अपने हाथ में लग नहीं आया बिकॉज अपन आई डोंट नो क्या हो गया था खैर. I don't want to go back into India. I keep going back to India, but yeah, I mean, for now, yeah, Pakistan really look amazing, and it's going to be a good final. But no one would have predicted this outcome. I don't think even the people who bet every day or have every bit of information would ever have thought like the odds were never in anyone's favor.
Yeah, and you mentioned something very important that they got themselves back together, and because those are heartbreaking losses, to Zimbabwe and India. The one thing that was going for them that they were performing in patches, so there was just one or two chinks that they had to fix, and there's more to do with their batting, and that's what they did. So it's easier said than done. The transformation has still been remarkable. Yes, the India game I felt they dominated, but Zimbabwe losing like that, pura confidence chala aata. You're out of the World Cup, man. There's no way that you're going to qualify for the semis. It's just खुदरत का निजाम है and everything has changed. But you're right, like to actually also do your part, right, in that situation. Not only are you banking on other teams, you have to do your part, and that's exactly what it did. But from England's point of
Yeah.
view, the best we saw them was in that semi-final against India. Now
Yeah.
a bit of that has to do with how poor India was, but in general
I,
for England, they've had a great white ball, last 6 years, and
yeah.
they did beat Pakistan with their second string team 4-3 in Pakistan just before the World Cup. So they will have confidence going into the finals, and the fact that even Mark Wood was injured, but they still bowled so well, will give them a lot of confidence. And the death bowling, it's different to Pakistan, but it's matching them. That bowling, especially the death. I would say
Yeah.
Pakistan's bowling
Yeah.
overall is better, but the death bowling and the middle overs, Adil Rashid is matching Shadab Khan for sure.
For sure. And I think death bowling also, like you said, I mean, it could match, but yeah, we would probably give a little bit of edge to Pakistan because, I mean, the last match, I think, in their death bowling was not that great. Like England, what we
England, yeah.
expected to get.
Pandya,
Sam Curran
Madhya,
got hit.
yeah.
Yeah, Pandya bhi maar diya, unhe zone mein aa gaya tha. I mean, I'm not going to take away it because of one match, but overall, it is going to be a neck to neck match. I mean, fielding wise, Pakistan are also pulling up their socks. We saw that in the semi final. They were doing the extra running, they were doing the extra bit of jumping around the fields and getting, covering those gaps in the deep. So yeah, it's going to be a very thrilling competition. It's going to be a very exciting competition. Two sides that are looking equal at this point of time because England though have the upper edge in terms of skill, but Pakistan in terms of hard work are bringing their A game, and we've seen that since the loss against Zimbabwe. One more thing, like you said, with regards to Adil Rashid is definitely upped his game. Shadab Khan, I think, has a little bit of work to do in that aspect. For me, Shadab Khan has taken 10 wickets in the tournament, but I think he hasn't been very convincing, and Adil Rashid has been a little bit more better in bowling at the right areas.
Yeah, Punter has a question. Thank you, Punter, for joining us. Keep your questions coming. We haven't seen Moin bowl, but do you think in the MCG he can play a key role as well with the ball? I think, yeah, it also depends with Moin. I think he wants to bowl to the left-hander. So if Shan Masood comes in, I think you'll definitely see Moin Ali. But otherwise, they don't really need to look to him, right? Because again, the MCG pitch, I don't know if it's going to be as conducive to spin. Even the India-Pakistan game, it was the pace that was taking the wickets. I think SCG Adelaide is more spin conducive from whatever we've seen. So we might not need Moin Ali, but with the big ground, when the left-hander comes in, we might see him perhaps. But
Yeah.
otherwise, I don't think we'll see a 4-over quota unless we see something different in the pitch and it
Yeah.
suddenly starts turning square.
I think it'll be more like of a situational kind of a game. If, like, let's say the fast bowler is getting smacked or Ben Stokes is not able
Yeah.
to, get his rhythm or something, and we see that the ball is being not like there's not enough bounce or the ball is like slow onto the bat. So then you could probably bring a Moin Ali and sort of look for those big boundary catches in the deep. So I think that is why I think Punter is rightfully pointing out that it could be a potential replacement or an added option that is always going to help, and Moin Ali helps with the bat and the ball. So that's why he's such a vital player in the squad.
Yeah, Faz, with that, let's go into our eye test and look at the roadmap for both teams. All right.
Sure, sir.
अरे पंटर आपको याद कर रहा था अब आगे विनय हरवी हरन विनय
Speaking of spinners, we have one of the spinners from an X-Men, a Canadian team who has
best spinners in Toronto.
Sorry,
He's
let's
taken
be clear. The best spinner in X-Men.
the best spinner in X-Men. 26 wickets in a season. 26 wickets in a season. He has all the variations. He has all the connections. He has all the combinations, permutations, anything you want to say. Please, Vinay bhai. पैसे दे देना.
So, Vinay, today we're talking about the Pakistan-England game. We're building to it. We'll have a more in-depth review tomorrow. I know there's a lot of rain around, but we still
Yes.
gotta discuss it. It's a big final. I know that our team is not in it, but that doesn't matter. We'll still go ahead and discuss. And we do follow a lot of cricket, so whoever is joining us, make sure you ask your questions, and we'll definitely try to answer it. In this section, in the eye test, basically want to see the roadmap to the final from both teams, Pakistan and England. A big commonality in both teams is they both lost to an underdog. They both were on the receiving end of an upset. Pakistan against Zimbabwe and England against Ireland. So that's one commonality there. Another commonality is both had convincing wins in the semi-finals. One difference is that Pakistan kind of banked on Netherlands to win, whereas England, that Australia game got rained out, so it was more in their hands, and they had to beat Sri Lanka, which they kind of scraped through. You had, and then you had Pakistan beating South Africa, England beating New Zealand, beating two big teams pretty convincingly. So these are some similarities and differences. Vinay, I'll come to you regarding England, and then I'll come to you regarding England, and then Faiz, I'll talk to you about Pakistan. England's roadmap, and honestly, coming into the world, every T20 World Cup since Owen Morgan has taken over, even white ball, I always say they're one of their favorites, and they've proven it. They're in the finals, but not without that hiccup. They just know, though, which is opposite to India. They know when to choke or not to choke kind of situation. It's a bit of luck there. But after they lost to Ireland, did you think England will make the finals? Because it was looking a bit dodgy.
To be honest, in terms of the overall team characteristics, I think it's the probably one of the best teams in the entire tournament, and you can never write them off. And even after that Ireland win, it didn't look like they're going to be written off.
Because the match बचा था वहां पे, right? बारिश हो गई थी.
Exactly, exactly. And match bajata in the sense like even if they had played Australia and stuff, it would have been a good game and everything. Right? You never know who would have come in and stuff, but definitely on paper, like England is a very strong side. Like overall team aspect, if you see, it's so many all rounders, so many good genuine bowlers. They are definitely going to miss Mark Wood. I don't know if he's still going to play the
We
finals or
did
not.
see that miss in the death overs against India.
Yeah, and Chris Jordan, they trusted him. He did bowl decent, but certain times he did get hit as well. He gave away 4 overs, 43 runs. He did pick up 3 wickets and stuff. But I think they rely more on Mark Wood. Mark Wood is their more go-to bowler at this point. Definitely, Jordan could be a potential come in for even someone like a Harry Brook, who hasn't done much in this tournament if they want to keep that extra pacer. However, if Mark Wood isn't playing, that's going to be a huge loss for them.
Yeah, 100%. And
And you saw Mark Wood like when he bowled in Pakistan against Pakistan in their home conditions. I think that's a big factor. That's a big factor that England is going to miss him. And
what
he's
did Mark
had
Wood do? What is the injury, and does he have a chance to be in the finals?
He does. They haven't confirmed that he's definitely going to sit out or anything, but you never know with these injuries with the fast bowlers. It could be something more serious, and you never know because he's like when you have that kind of pace, your body is tend to be more prone to injuries and stuff. So I guess we just have to wait it out and see if he's going to play the finals.
Vinay, also in the Sri Lanka game and the India game, there's one thing that I noticed is that the openers did amazing. In the India game, the middle order didn't get tested, but in the Sri Lanka game, they looked very nervy, man. Towards the end, it was the maturity of bench strokes that got them through, but it was, thoda sa gir pad ke, into the semi-finals. Is that a concern for you? Because Pakistan's new ball attack is very potent, and you have Shaheen Afridi, you have Naseem Shah, Haris Rauf, Wasim Jr. all coming at you. If they do get Butler and Hales early, do you worry for the middle order? Although the names are there, but the performance has not been there yet in the World Cup. Do you think they will have that ability to turn it on in the final just like that?
Let me clarify just one point before I get into that. The thing is, when it comes to subcontinent teams, except Pakistan, typically all the subcontinent teams, the pace is not there typically in the bowlers. When you take Sri Lanka, you take India, you take Bangladesh and stuff, they don't have the pace, the genuine pace that England probably are more suited for. Like when you look at teams like India, Sri Lanka and stuff, I think because of the lack of pace, they tend to be more comfortable in that. But here, you have genuine pace that is coming. So the approach might be a little different. The way Butler and Hales might play is going to be different. They do struggle a little bit with the swing, and here Pakistan bowlers like Shaheen Shah, Afridi, Naseem Shah, they are bowling with pace and with swing, so it could get difficult for them. The kind of shots that Butler played against Bhuvi and stuff might not come into the play. So it's going to be an interesting matchup in terms of how it's going to play out. But there is a possibility that the like Butler and Hills might fail in the finals.
Yeah, and then
And then middle order could step up. They have the potential. They might not have been exposed or might not have been playing to their potential, but there is always, you can never write them off. You can have that one off day, that particular day for them, right? So it's a tipsy turvy curve basically for them. Anything can happen for them, and we've seen that template in this World Cup as well.
Yeah, 100%. The way they play their cricket, I think it's just free flowing cricket. So अगर चल गया तो फिर कोई भी target chase कर दे सकते, they can set 200 plus also. So that's how they play the cricket.
But I think that Ben Stokes in the middle, if Butler and Hales fail, is going to be very crucial because you don't have a David Malan now anchoring the innings who's taking them all over to the end. So Ben Stokes' innings might be very crucial if Butler or Hales fail.
And I think him and Moin Ali both important रहेंगे to counter Shadab and Nawaz. I think Nawaz might be pulled out of the attack, and you might even see Chachu bowling because of those two lefties in the middle. So it can play
Yeah.
around. I think that does definitely add to it. Faz,
Moin Ali, I've seen more of a attacking batsman. He's not more of a staying batsman, I feel. Right? Whenever he tries to stay in the crease, I feel he's more struggling in that regard. He likes to play free, and that's where someone like a Ben Stokes is more calmer, more matured in terms of the playing 11 that they have.
Yeah, no, 100%. Faz, I'll come to you and talk about Pakistan. That match against India was a cracker of a game. Pakistan played really well in that. Iftikhar was sparking, he was a very big positive in that. Then you had Shaheen also hitting sixes, Haris Rauf hitting a six. So you had that middle lower order contributing, getting to a competitive score. And they bowled extremely well until the last 3 overs. I don't think they bowled too poorly. It's just like some sensational batting. Then you have the Zimbabwe game. फिर बैटिंग का पूरा क्वेश्चन होता है इंटेंट के बारे में, स्ट्राइक रेट के बारे में. You have all that. South Africa against again they're 40 for 4, but Shadab steps up along with Chachu. So the middle order has really come to the fore, and that's given the confidence to Babar and Rizwan, because you saw in the semi-finals clearly Babar and Rizwan weren't nervous as they would be, because they knew that ki bhai hum out hui ho gaye to middle order hai, wo bharosa tha, which wasn't there clearly in the India game or the Zimbabwe game. So yeah, your thoughts on Pakistan's journey from the start to the finals, basically.
For me, Pakistan's journey, when it was more like every individual started improving per day, like one
But
of
also
them
help कि
kept
ठंडी
standing out.
sandwiches नहीं मिल रहे थे उन लोगों को, right?
वो तो अपना प्रॉब्लम है. वो अब तो जितने गरम खाना है खा लो, अब तो वेगन सैंडविच छोड़, अब तो सीधा चाट भंडार में खड़े हुए होंगे पूरे. तो फॉर मी
भैया
आई थिंक
वापस
पाकिस्तान.
आधे लोग तो वापस भी नहीं आ रहे, वहीं से न्यूजीलैंड जा रहे, तो वहां पे भी कोल्ड सैंडविचेस ही मिल रहे हैं उनको.
Sorry, Faiz, आपको कट करने में, अगर इंग्लैंड लॉस्ट टू आयरलैंड एंड पाकिस्तान टू इंडिया एट एमसीजी, will that psychology affect both teams? नहीं, दोनों हार गए, अब दोनों फाइनल में आ गए. I don't think they're going to think about that, because the final है, like they're in the final. That's not going to affect them. I don't think it's going to affect them.
Any
Yeah.
previous results won't affect them. I think it's going to be.
Sometimes अब लेकिन लास्ट गेम में अगर हार के आ रहे कुछ थोड़ा बहुत हो सकता है, बट ये
भैया सेमीफाइनल्स में हार के तो आ ही नहीं सकते ना आगे, वरना तो इंडिया भी पहुंच जाती.
नहीं, जैसे आप सेमीफाइनल्स को हारे, राइट? सेमीफाइनल्स को हारे, अगर फॉर एग्जांपल वो लास्ट गेम हारे, इफ इट वाज इन अ डू और डाई, फिर थोड़ा बहुत हो सकता है,
Basically, what like carrying it to the next team, they have nothing to carry to the next game
They don't
because
have
they
to
have
carry,
left
and they've
everything.
won back-to-back games. So England has won 2 games, Pakistan has won
No baggage basically.
no baggage.
Yeah, no
I know it's the
baggage.
MCG punter, but it doesn't matter. It's a different opposition. It's going to be a different pressure. You're going to be thinking about different things. Fez.
Yeah, so like I was saying, पाकिस्तान के साथ अगर अपन पाकिस्तान को एक माइक्रोस्कोप के नीचे डाल रहे हैं तो छोटे जगह है, बट पाकिस्तान का what I've noticed with them is that every match they took, I think after the India and the Zimbabwe loss, they saw every area that they have to work upon, and Matthew Hayden, I think, splendidly worked with the team. Babar Azam ka Rizwan ka confidence didn't come up until the 4th game. After the South African game is when they started थोड़ा बहुत टुक भी खेल रहे थे, but they still think. But जो middle order बीच में से उठी है, जैसे आप लोग point out करें, बिल्कुल सही है कि middle order started taking responsibility, because they were heavily criticized even on our show. We kept saying the same thing, that you cannot be dependent on the openers. You can't be so dependent that definitely इतना pressure में लाके दे दे रहे आपको 10 overs के बाद लाके आपको bat करो भाई 10 over बाकी है, 40 का स्कोर है, 50 का स्कोर है. That does add a lot of pressure on the middle order, but the middle order really had to take responsibility in the likes of Iftikhar or Shadab. That middle order really stood up and started giving them that beach ka layer which they can sort of fall back on. So I think that is where you can see the main improvement area. If you see their bowling from the beginning of the tournament to the end of till the semi-final, it's been superb. So bowling is one area that they were not supposed to be very concerned about because सब economically जा रहे थे. But when you look at the fielding and the batting, उधर I think एक unity नहीं थी, एक understanding नहीं थी. I think it's a very combined effort of Matthew Hayden and Babar Azam, because those talks in the dressing room, those talks in the locker room that we've seen, that after the match, he keeps boosting the confidence despite not being able to perform. I think that's a very big thing to come out and say it out in a locker room that we got this. We're backing each other and stuff. So I think Pakistan together through this journey have sort of formulated into a very strong bond and a unit, which makes a very big difference in the dressing room and the atmosphere, that your fellow colleague has your back. So I think that is something Pakistan
मगर
really
you know,
worked.
मेरे को क्या है मालूम, थोड़ा सा किस्मत की भी बात of course है, right? Like, you know, the Netherlands beating South Africa for me is the complete upset. No one saw that coming. I don't think anybody saw that coming. Even if someone said it, I don't believe them. But Vinay, like, you know, if you looked at the last World Cup, I'm not talking about this World Cup, so don't get upset. Last World Cup, South Africa actually, if you saw them, they outclassed everyone after losing to Australia. And वो भी Australia का गेम थोड़ा टाइट हो गया था एंड में, if you remember, in the UAE, right? मगर
Yeah.
किस्मत साथ में थी, नेट रन रेट में आउट हो गया. I'm not saying, अब look, you know, South Africa got choking baggage and everything, that I completely understand, but they didn't reach the semi-finals, but they were playing really good cricket. Whereas Pakistan, they picked up that cricket, but they still needed that one thing going their way. And soon as it went their way, they grabbed it with both hands. So it's just, it's a mix of both, right? Like, it's not, it's a bit of luck, it's a bit of skill, and they got it together. And yeah, man, I just wanted to know what you thought
But
of.
something, no, sorry to like one something that understand the luck point was all about. Like we just said a few moments before when it came, it's that mentality also that matters, yaro. Like because tum, your whole nation is shouting at you. You're called out everywhere in the media and stuff, and potentially being abused. And uske baad you have the courage to come into the next game
Yeah.
with and beat South Africa like that. And South Africa was not easy. I mean, South Africa screwed themselves over very honestly. But Pakistan really did work hard. So I don't think it was luck 100%. There was a luck factor in it where all the other chances had to go their way. But when it came to their own sort of game, they performed very like amazing.
The reason why I'm saying that, because for me it was very similar to 2019 World Cup. ठीक है, उसमें क्या हुआ था 2019 World Cup में, they needed results to go in their favor. India हार गए England से and whatever, and then they needed England to beat they needed New Zealand to beat
New Zealand, yeah.
England, right?
England.
They need New Zealand, either of New Zealand or India, one of these teams. If they beat England, Pakistan were going into that semi-finals. नहीं हुआ, क्या हुआ, सरफराज को काट दिया. And they said कि कैसा हार सकता है वेस्ट इंडीज के अगेंस्ट, 90 ऑल आउट कैसा हो सकते हैं, 100 ऑल आउट कैसा होते हैं, and everything like that. And that Pakistan team was vanished, and they had to build it again around Babar and everything. So this they were this close, and you expect New Zealand or India to beat England, but Netherlands beating South Africa is something, I think. So that's why I keep talking about that factor. Qismat saath tha, but of course they made the most of it. And I think the reason how they made the most of it is they've been in these situations before. Whether it's 92, whether it's even in the Champions Trophy, whether it's in 2019 World Cup, they've been in this situation and they know how to gather momentum quickly. And I think when they're down and they see all this, they want to prove a point कि भाई हमारे पास talent है, हम लोग गलतियां करते, but we have that talent there. Yeah, विनय कुछ बोलना चाह रहे थे आप?
मैं तब से वेट ही कर रहा हूँ. मेरे को this England versus Pakistan game reminds me like how it will be in IPL. No, IPL. Rajasthan Royals versus Punjab Kings. Right? If Rajasthan Royals, like, they turn up like Pakistan, if they turn up, then there's no way anyone can beat them on their day. Right? That's who they remind me of. And Punjab Kings, like, if the kind of lineup that Punjab Kings had like last season, right? If that lineup खेलती तो फोड़ के रख देती, वरना गंदा भी हारती, right?
Yeah.
So that's how this game I see that England is going to play to their template. अगर लग गए तो पाकिस्तान के लग गए, अगर नहीं लगे तो it's all about who turns up on that day, and how they turn up is what is going to be important.
Yeah, and do you guys agree with me saying कि अगर 150 to 170, 140 to 170 का range है तो Pakistan have a better chance, और 170 plus to 220 का range है तो England have a better chance? Do you agree with me there?
Not 140. I would say 155 to 175 would be the range Pakistan needs to score. Minimum.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying कि, like, for example, अगर game is in between 150 to 170, suppose Pakistan is chasing.
Oh, Pakistan is chasing, you're asking. Okay.
Pakistan is
Yeah,
chasing
if Pakistan is chasing 150 to 170, I think they're still in the game. If it's more than 170,
it favors them. You give them the edge.
No, I won't say it favors them. It depends on how they still bat. Right?
And if it's 180 plus, then you're not giving them that much chance at all.
That's more doubtful. 150 to 170, they still have a chance. 170 plus, I think it's going to be very hard for them. Anything,
I think it'll be all in the power play then. Power play में कैसा perform करे उसके साथ लगेगा फिर.
जैसा हमारे साथ था मैच. But
अरे छोड़ दे भाई, छोड़
अपना
दे,
मैच
भूल जा.
भूल जा भाई, भूल जा, निकल उस दिन। अभी तक रैन रिकवर नहीं हुआ है, इसलिए अभी आया भी नहीं है शो पे।
boys back in Mumbai, bro. They're going from Adelaide to Mumbai on the plane.
No, no, they're not going to Mumbai.
Where are they
Not
going?
all of them.
Oh, New Zealand
Not
भी
all.
जा रहे थे.
Yeah, many of them are going to New Zealand, man. Lakshman is
France.
going to coach them. The Dravid is also flying back to Bangalore.
Yeah, I have some news for fresh off the press. I don't know if we have time for that, but it's basically like India Sri Lanka ka like bilateral announce हुई आज.
Yeah.
Yeah.
अच्छा
वो
तो
वो
let's
वो फ्रेश ऑफ द प्रेस भी नहीं है मुस्ती, वो एवरी ईयर का एक वो क्या होता है, एनुअल मीटिंग है, वो एनुअल मीटिंग है वो.
Annual meeting, ACC meeting.
ACC
Asian
Yeah, I
Cricket
think
Council की मीटिंग में
guys,
होता है.
थोड़ा सा अगर मैं बोलता हूँ, I think Indian fans will start. It's going to starting to be like England, man. I think it's going to come to a point where we're giving Sunrisers, Delhi Capitals, Mumbai Indians more importance. And when India come together, like how England do in a football World Cup, it's like that. Like Gareth Southgate, Rahul Dravid, Rohit Sharma.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's going to be like
Yeah,
that.
same thing, man.
Yeah, but
So,
let's.
another fresh of press, Mr. Babar Azam has been traded
Yeah, he's in the
Yeah.
Peshawar
in PSL.
Zalmi.
Yeah, Zalmi, bro.
I think this kind of news is kind of distracting. World Cup के बाद बोल देना था, but I guess like they're on a
It's
high.
already started, so we're giving more favor to the domestic leagues now. On
Yeah,
changing the track.
Babar Azam is a Peshawar Zalmi. And yeah, let's move on to another section. Vinay doesn't know what's coming. This is what hitting him. He's not prepared. So I'm gonna Faiz gonna lead the section with me. We're gonna let's go to the stat attack section and do some comparisons in terms of individual performances from both teams. So you guys ready?
Yes, sir.
हाँ जी बंटाए विनय देख
बोलो
ले
भाई।
तीन पिलेरा
हाँ,
ये तीन पिलेरा देख रहे हैं आप
तीन पिलेरा,
हाँ
बताओ.
So Mohammad Rizwan, Shah Masood, Iftkhar Ahmed. These are your top three Pakistan run scorers. For me, out of these three, Iftkhar Ahmed is the most dangerous because of his strike rate. But Mohammad Rizwan, man, despite also getting criticized and everything, he's scoring runs. Like his strike rate does go up and down and everything, but he can get you runs. He saw that in the semi-finals. Vinay, what's the surprise for you here? Are you surprised that someone like Iftkhar is or Shan Masood is there instead of a Babar Azam?
Not exactly. Like Babar Azam has been struggling before the tournament as well. So I think I won't say that I was expecting that. Yes, the good surprise is that both Shan Masood and Iftikhar have come off in this tournament better. And with the criticism that middle order had, I think it's good for them that they've been performing and anchoring the innings for the team as well and taking them through in certain crucial games.
Yeah, no, 100%. For me, I'm surprised that Babar is not there. I didn't expect that. Shan Masood also both criticized हुआ था going into the World Cup. I think
Mr. Don, if you remember Shan Masood, he wrote him off. He why would Pakistan ever bring Shan Masood in the lineup and stuff? So I think.
Not just Don, bro.
I think they were not only Don. Yeah, they were not only Don.
Yeah.
It was even Pakistani fans themselves. When he got injured in the nets, I think they were the most happiest.
क्या बोल रहे थे उन लोग फखर को लेके आओ फखर को लेके आओ
हाँ, फखर को लेके आओ, वो खिला रहे हैं stuff like that. But for me, I think
so over here, Mohammad Rizwan 160 runs, Vinay, 137 Shah Masood, and Iftikhar 114. So they're not the highest scorers in the tournament, but for Pakistan, also everyone's contributing. And Abu Bakr here made a big point. I think Haris changed Pakistan. That's completely true because contributions, whether they've been short stays at the crease, but those cameos have completely changed the situation of the game. It's given Pakistan that added advantage in terms of strike rate. Whatever Rizwan and Babar were scoring at, he's just picked up that run rate single-handedly and got them into the game. And we saw that in the South Africa match. He gave them, so in the South Africa game, despite them losing 4 wickets, after Haris got out, they were to 60 for 4 or whatever, but he gave them, he put them ahead of that 6-run, 7-run economy. There were 8 run rate, sorry, there were 8-9 runs and over. And that allowed Shadab and Iftikhar to take a bit of time and then attack. So yeah, I think Mohammad Haris has been a game changer for them, batting at one down, and the complement has been like, I mean, the chemistry has been good. So you have Iftikhar, you have Shan Masood rotating the strike, and then you have your boy Chachu coming in and attacking as well. So it's been a good
And if you
combination.
see the average as well, Shan Masood being 45.66, I think
Yeah,
it.
info.
Yes, I did open Crick Info because you said stat attack, so might as well open it and give you
Yeah,
some stats there, man.
yeah,
So
wow.
I think the mainstay, of course, Shan Masood hasn't been scoring the runs quickly. Like its strike rate is not that great at this point, but the kind of innings that he's been playing, the anchor, the solid stay that they wanted, I think that's what was more important in this template that Pakistan is playing, and that's why he's filling that role and filling the gaps for that team very well. And in terms of Shadab and Iftikhar getting the license, I think that's good signs. Shadab scoring at like what 177. That's a
Yeah.
really good sign for Pakistan, and he's come of age. He has definitely improved and he's matured as a cricketer, and he's a very important cog for this entire team to actually perform. So, and he's probably considered a senior player, and he gives all the fielding changes and everything, and that's very good to see. So these players have definitely come of age for Pakistan, and these are really good signs for their cricket.
100%. First, let's move on to England, and then these are your top three scorers. Alex Hales and Butler doing the bulk of the scoring. Alex Hales 211 runs in 5 innings. Josh Butler 199 runs in 5 innings. Then you have Ben Stokes 58. So there's a huge difference between the openers and the middle order. You
Yeah,
have Stokes, Alan, Livingston all with 50 runs. So it's the top order which is doing the bulk of the scoring, and that's why I did ask this to Vinay as well, that अगर दोनों उड़ गए जल्दी प्रेशर आएगा क्या मिडिल ऑर्डर पे, because the runs नहीं बनाए उन लोग. But
absolutely. Yeah, it's clear by the stats itself. It's clear with the stats itself. Like two,
yeah,
you scoring what more than 400 runs at the top two, and then literally the rest combined not even scoring 200 runs. That's a
and
big difference. And yeah,
that's where Faz, it becomes a bit tricky for England, because अगर इन लोग दोनों चल गए तो फिर कोई जरूरत ही नहीं है. But that's where it becomes a bit tricky. But let's just
Yeah.
talk about these two men. Like and the thing is, they're scoring at a good strike rate as well. So they do have a better strike rate than Babar and Rizwan.
Yeah,
yeah,
of course they do. Like, but like whenever I mentioned, and you also mentioned a couple of minutes, like couple of like minutes earlier, that the pace force that Pakistan has and the variations that they have in their system will be a very big challenge for Alex Hales and Butler, because Alex Hales जिस तरीके से इंडिया को मारा, I don't think उन्हें पाकिस्तान को मार सकता. And in the earlier part of the tournament, Josh Butler was getting out cheaply, and he was not able to adjust. So Pakistan definitely is the attack that you cannot read completely. You don't know, it's such an unexpected place where they have the good short, slower ones, and they have the faster one, the bounce, the short balls, everything. They have those kind of deliveries in them to sort of strike 2 wickets in the power play or 3 wickets in the power play, and that'll be like a very big disadvantage to England, knowing that their middle order is not accustomed to the conditions yet as good as probably a Pakistani middle order who will improvise in the last couple of games. So I think that is going to be a very differentiating factor. Josh Butler really needs to probably pull another rabbit out of the hat, because if they lose, I think 2 wickets in the power play, it'll be a little bit expensive for a whole lot expensive actually for England, because like Ben Stokes bhi nahi chala, who's your last one who's at 58, then these guys again hit out or get out situations mein agar aa gaye to pareshan ho jayenge.
Yeah, that's why you need like a big name like a Livingston, Ben Stokes, these guys to really like buckle down. Maybe that's where Vin is really right. Like someone like a Ben Stokes anchors, and then you have Livingston, Moeen Ali hitting around you. That's maybe the game plan that they have.
Same, yeah. Same with Shan Masood ka jo situation hai. If Shan Masood is the one who's stabilizing the innings, then you have a Chachu or a Shada who can come and hit later
Yeah.
on.
Also,
and that
we
is, sorry, one additional point I just want to mention. Like England, I think the reason that they're favoring Harry Brook in that lineup is also the reason, because if Alex Hills and Butler are failing and they don't score up too much, then the middle order being a little fragile. You've seen with the kind of stats. I think they need that extra batter, and that's why Harry Brook is in the team at this point. Otherwise, you could have easily slotted in someone like a Chris Jordan who can give you more depth over, but they are really scared of losing an extra batter in the current lineup that they have.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think Let's move on to the bowlers as well and see the comparisons over here. So basically, the summary here is that Pakistan, you have more run scorers contributing throughout the order, whereas England, it's top heavy right now in the World Cup. Of course, England on paper have a great batting lineup, but
It's like the template has completely switched. What Pakistan's template was before the World Cup is England's template, and England's template is Pakistan's right now.
Pakistan's template. Yeah, that's the good way to look at it. Now, if you look at the most wickets here is Pakistan. No surprises. Shaheen Shah there. You have Shadab Khan, Mohammad Wasim. These guys are your top three, wicket takers for Pakistan. And Shaheen Shah Afridi 10 wickets, Shadab 10 wickets, so it's equal there. And then you have Mohammad Wasim 7 wickets. Shaheen Shah, man, Fez, this guy was injured. You talked about his injury. I talked about his injury. He didn't look fit even in the Zimbabwe game for me, but he's come back very strong. And you saw वो उसकी जो 2 ओवर है पावर प्ले में खतरनाक ओवर्स रहते हैं उन्हें उसमें आपका
Yeah.
बड़ा प्लेयर उखाड़ देता और उसके ऊपर रन ही नहीं देता उन्हें. So he's been outstanding.
Yeah, I think as the tournament progressed, his injury also sort of improved and थोड़ा उन्हें I think और recover हो गया उसके जो भी gaps मिले उसको जितने भी दिन में he could do his physio and sort of cardio and get those numbers in. I think that really must have helped him get his rhythm and line on point, because like you mentioned in the India match also, we were like, as the match was looking, he was looking as a very big opponent. अरे यार उन्हें क्या डाल रहा, 4 overs 29 runs कुछ दिया था. But then I think it was you who pulled it out, saying that he doesn't look that fit, and then in the next match he didn't bowl very well. But since the South Africa match, if you see his stats, it was like 4 overs, I think 1 wicket and 19 runs that he gave away. That was an improvement at another level. And consecutively in the Bangladesh match, he got 3 wickets, and then the next match he got 4. So that's where I think he started getting his rhythm and line back. And you can never take this guy out of the equation if you want to, also because the first 2 overs, like you mentioned, the moment he gets, he guarantees you a wicket every time in the first over, at least the second over. या तो LBW या तो bold, यही चीज उसका फंडा है. And थोड़ा movement अगर उसको मेलबर्न में मिल गया तो he will be something else.
100%.
Yeah,
And
and that's why I didn't believe Musti when he was saying that Shaheen Shah Afridi was injured and stuff, because he's a match winner, man. He just needs to show up,
he
and
was injured, bro. What do you mean?
yeah, whatever. You can say all that, but he's clearly proving you wrong. So he just needed that boost, I think. And people like Musti, how they criticize him that he's injured and not. I think that's
I
what
didn't
he.
criticize him.
That's
I
the
said he's
the
injured.
boost. That's the boost Shaheen Shah Afridi wanted probably, and that's what. That's why probably he's turning up now and picking up
He
all
was
these
not
wickets.
Vinay. He got more game time, and he's
Musti,
getting
it's
back
your
into his
opinion
rhythm.
versus mine. It's your opinion versus mine.
Acha, whoever is in the chat right now, whose opinion you agree? Mine or Vinay? Yeah, I'm saying that he got into his rhythm. He did not look fit. He was injured. According to Vinay, he's been fit the whole time. He's limping because on a back to
my
पे shot नहीं
my
मिल रहा.
job
No, no.
my
So
job
my
my job in
Back
the
to back
podcast is
shot
not
नहीं
to
मिल रहा.
agree with
That's
you.
the
My job in the podcast is not to agree with you. I agree to
when
disagree sometimes, so that's my
That is
point.
completely fine. I have no problem with that. But बैगन के बात कर रहे हो तुम इस सिचुएशन पे. हाँ, so
No, so the only thing I would say in terms of not looking fit or not being fit, I would agree with Musti, because the pace that he was bowling at in the first 2 matches was not as what he was bowling in the third, in the fourth, and the fifth. Because when
भैया
140,
लाइट ले रहा
141,
भैया. He's coming off of injury. He's just taking light.
अरे
That's all
तुम
he was
लोग
doing.
मार दो चप्पल लेके. हम लोग वही बोल रहे हैं. हम लोग वही बोल रहे हैं. उन्हें नहीं था फिट. He was coming off an injury. वही तो बोल रहे हैं हम.
अब जब
विनय भाई तुम
क्रिटिसिज्म मिला फिर
विनय
गुस्सा
विनय
में
भाई
आ
तुम
गया ना.
विनय भाई तुम किचन में बैठे क्या, काली आग लगा रहे तुम?
मैं उसको फोन घुमाया कि मुझसे तुम्हारे को क्रिटिसाइज कर रहा, तो उसने एकदम फिर कहा अच्छा ये बात. फिर वो दिखाते हैं हम थोड़ा.
मैं इसलिए मैं ये नहीं तुम सेम चीज बोल रहे. अच्छा ठीक है. So these are the three. Mohammad Wasim, Rayhan's favorite. He's been outstanding as well. He's done a more like what do you call it? क्या बोलते quiet job. He's been there. He took 7 wickets, coming in economical, doing his job. जब विकेट होना ले लेता, एक दो छक्के पड़ जाते, मगर विकेट आ लेता उन्हें, and he does.
For
Put,
me, I think, sorry Musti, I'm sorry to cut you there, but for me the silent job is more like Naseem. This guy is a little bit more animated and he's making a lot of noise. But for me, Naseem has been that bowler who's been economical and he's been getting that 1 or 2 wickets as well. For me, I think I would go with Naseem any day in the end also. Like even the last discussion that we had, you guys, most of them chose Wasim Jr. But for me, Naseem has been that dark knight or the silent assassin.
Yeah, six. He's bowled what 22 overs, similar amount of what Shaheen Shah or Shadab or even Haris Rauf has bowled, and he's gone only at 6 rate. And you saw the
Yeah.
death over that he bowled against New Zealand as well. So I think he's been the silent workhorse that Pakistan had,
Listen,
and he's just doing his job much better than anyone else. And T20, we all talk about the wickets, but wickets are not important. It's more about the crucial how the pressure comes in with the
किसके
dot
बारे में
balls.
बात कर रहे हो तुम?
Naseem Shah.
Naseem Shah.
So both are talking. You both agree that Asim Shah
You
has
need
been
to
the
pay. You need to pay
Like no,
attention when
in terms
people are
of
talking.
yeah, in terms of like the silent, like what you said about the silent guy who's working in the back quietly, like Wasim has made an impact, and you could like a lot of people have been praising him, right? So and you can see Yorker Dalra wo runs Rokra, he's doing his job, but he's much more impactful and like more animated. That's why people are like he's in people's eyes. But when it comes to a Naseem, you see he's not getting that much credit. He was not around the news or in the limelight, but when he will take out his numbers, actually he has bowled brilliantly.
yeah.
Yeah,
No, me even when I saw him bowl live, Naseem Shah was unbelievable, man. He was the
Yeah,
one of the best bowlers to watch live because the pace that he had. I think he bowled Surya Kumar in that Asia Cup. It was an
yeah,
outstanding delivery. Maybe he hasn't had those kind of spells. That's why people have not talked about him. Where Jackie, quick burst, 3-4 wickets. But you guys are right. He's done a silent job. He's held one end up, but. Yeah, these are your leading wicket takers from Pakistan, and then from England you have Sam Curran, Mark Wood, Ben Stokes. The interesting thing over here is that you have Shadab over here who's got 10 wickets, but Adil Rashid is not in this list. But again, he's done the job. As a bit different to what you want from a leg spinner, where you want a lot of wickets, but he's actually done an economical job on you as well.
yeah.
And this is not something that you expect from your leg spinner. But these are your most wickets. You have Mark Wood, Sam Curran, Ben Stokes. Ben Stokes, man, all rounder, bro. He's high quality. No surprises in terms of Mark Wood for me. For me, the biggest surprise man in this list is Sam Curran. I did not expect him to bowl like this in Australian conditions. Faz,
yeah.
your thoughts?
No, definitely. I mean, Sam Curran is someone who has just, shocked everyone because of the size of the pitches in Australia and his pace. I think we would have definitely banked him on getting smacked. But line length, rhythm, and the movement that he got initially, उसके वजह से उन्हें इतना डेंजर बॉलर हो गया. And it's just about like what we even saw in the India match. Every England bowler was so disciplined in terms of line and length that अपन मार ही नहीं सकते थे. When you see our innings, it looked like we were just giving away the ball and they were like just smacking it anywhere. And it looked like anything they were going to touch, it's going to be a 4 or a 6. So
Hmm.
for England, I think, and Pakistan also in the same manner, discipline has been such a key factor in the bowling where their line and length has been splendid. And for Pakistan, the one up more thing was that they improved their fielding. But when coming towards Sam Curran, yeah, Sam Curran has been amazing with the ball, and I think he's going to be a threat against Pakistan because the last match he did get smacked by Pandya, so I think he'll be coming back with a vengeance, hopefully.
Also, Vinny, do you
So,
think that that game against India, like when Hardik Pandya did get the better of them, of course, Faz mentioned that outstanding power play. They were extracting that extra bounce, they were beating the bat and everything, and they really had India on the ropes. But if you look at the Hardik Pandya innings, do you think it's more that the pitch was really good and it was getting better and better, and that's why because the way England batted, they just completely made a mockery of that total. So, would you cut them a bit of slack in the death overs in that India game? I'm talking about Sam Curran over there and Jordan and these guys.
to be honest, Sam Curran, yes, at the start of the tournament, he was much more lethal. He picked up the 5 wicket and then picked up a couple of wickets here and there. But off recent in the last 2 3 games, he hasn't picked much wickets. Right? He
But he done
has.
a job, man. Against Sri Lanka, he did a job when they were going crazy.
No,
He was
that
really good at the
I'm
job.
so if you let me speak, I can finish up, right? So my point is, like he has been bowling well in the death overs, but I think the weakness that he has is that he's too reliant on the Yorkers. He's not too good in terms of a bouncer delivery, right? And that's something that Pakistan can probably take positive from what Hardik Pandya did, because Hardik Pandya, if you see his natural stance, he goes deep in the crease. So when you go deep in the crease, you kind of make that you can try to make that delivery into more of a full toss rather than being a Yorker, right? So that is something that Pakistan could exploit in the conditions, and that might be a weakness that Sam Cannon kind of carries, because he's not a bowler who will pitch it short and bowl a bouncer or anything, and that's probably one thing that he needs to add up to his arsenal of deliveries that he has, and that's where, huh?
क्या critical है. It's good analysis, but
Yeah. I'm
hard
not
one.
being critical. I'm just being saying that he's
No,
bowling
no,
well.
that's
I'm
analysis.
definitely agreeing that he's bowling really
Yeah.
well. But that's something that probably I noticed while he's bowling, and that's why probably Hardik Pandya, who was much more better against Sam Curran than any of the other batsmen, because of being going deep in the crease, and that's something Shadab actually plays in that team that
No, no, that's a
they
good
But
have.
observation.
one thing Vinay, I would say कि भाई sorry Musti, I'm so sorry कि Adelaide में मैच जो था it's shorter boundary था, but MCG would
Yeah.
be a different game. Full ball को अगर तुम यॉर्कर को भी full ball बना रहे, you have all the chances to be caught in the deep.
Yes, that is also there. So there are those kind of positives that England
England.
have, and the other very underrated bowler that I see in this lineup is Livingston. He comes in, he's
Hmm.
been put in crucial situations and he's
Yes.
been delivering. He gives you both. If there's a lefty, he'll bowl the off spinners. If it's a righty, he'll bowl the leg spinners. I think he's been another silent performer in that England lineup, and he's been someone who's given more consistent bowling than even a Moeen Ali, even if there's a
Yeah.
left-hander on the strike at that point. And even Adil Rashid, for that matter, bowling at that economy rate of 6.25. I think, especially in these kind of wickets like Melbourne being a bigger ground, I think it will be very helpful for him being a wrist
Yeah.
spinner and coming in and bowling those deliveries. I think that's where England was better than Indian spinners, because they were tossing the ball up even in that shorter boundaries square of the wicket, but they had the field placement correctly for each batsman and they had that play. So I think that'll be crucial as well if they do that kind of analysis, and if they bowl according to those plans. I think England might be coming on top.
Yeah, I think two very good observations. One from Vinay was about the way Hardik Pandya played from deep in his crease, Vinay, and what Faz said about the dimensions and also the pitch conditions. I would like to add that that could be a factor, because in Adelaide it was a better wicket, and also उसको cross खेल सकते थे. अब यहाँ पे cross मारेंगे उसको you can
Yeah.
get out. He's gotten wickets in that cow corner boundary, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, that is a very good observation, Faz. Faz, let me ask you this question.
One more observation I had, Mustafa, sorry to cut you again, that
Yes.
yesterday Manchester United won despite India losing.
Like I said, like I said.
मेरे भाई मेरा भाई.
Yeah,
My
Vinay,
predictions are always right, man. I should probably get lottery or something. Sometimes I think I might win.
I'm gonna call the director of Aladdin and they're gonna check you if you can get the genie role.
but first my question to you is, ये
Yes,
हो
sir.
सकता है इसलिए मैं पूछ रहा हूँ. I know MCG is a big ground, but we've seen Chachu hit 3 6s over there, and big hits हो सकते हैं बड़े hitters है दोनों teams में. This question should ask you in captain's corner, but I'm asking you right now because I think माहौल बन गया. तो अगर आदिल रशीद या शादाब खान उसमें उनमें से अगर किसी को लग गया एक ओवर में 32 अगर लग गया, आप क्या करेंगे? Will you go to the other spinner or go to the fast bowlers, or would you give him another over?
Sorry, किसको बोल रहे हो?
32.
I didn't hear.
नहीं, नहीं.
Sorry.
So
नहीं नहीं, किसके बारे में?
मैं बोल
basically
रहा हूँ आदिल
अगर
रशीद या शादाब को अगर पड़े एक ओवर में,
हाँ.
पहले ओवर फॉर एग्जांपल पहला ओवर which is unlikely, मगर अगर पड़े
Yeah.
फॉर एग्जांपल 32 पड़ गए एक ओवर में, आप दूसरा स्पिनर को जाएंगे या आप would you go to another pacer, or would you go back to Adil Rashid or Shadab, who have done really well in the tournament?
मैं सिचुएशन में क्या दिखता था मालूम के एक्चुअली देखो आई वुड सी क्या अगर कंडीशंस क्या है पिच के, अगर मूवमेंट है और स्कोप है स्पिनर्स के लिए कुछ
कंडीशंस उसमें पड़ना है आपको.
हाँ, अगर कंडीशंस अगर नॉट इन द फेवर ऑफ स्पिनर है, then I would go back to a fast bowler. Like I would not take the risk
But
because
how would you? But wouldn't you assume that it's not in the favor of spin if he gets hit for 32?
not necessarily. I mean, if he's not bowling in line or in the length and बेकार बोला दे दिया, अब वो कैसा जा रहा है, वो 32 रन नहीं बोल सकते अपन, या तो नो बॉल दे दिया या क्या, I don't. I'm just playing it out. If it is spin, if there is a chance of him coming back in the next over and sort of slowing it down more and probably bowling it in line and getting that spin, then probably विकेट मिल सकता. स्पिन बॉलिंग ऐसे है कि आपको विकेट कभी भी कहां से मिल सकता है. ये फास्ट बॉलिंग का थोड़ा बहुत क्या है, खेल ले सकते बेटर probably. तो
Yes, This question wasn't intended for you. This was a poke at me, basically.
No, it wasn't. Vinay, the only thing 32 याद आ गया मेरे को. That was the only thing, but it was a serious
हाँ
question.
बिल्कुल.
Seriously,
वो तो तुम्हें याद आता, हर एपिसोड में याद आता तुम्हें.
32
मेरे को
याद आता
26
मेरे
याद
को.
है, मेरे को 26 याद है मैंने, but don't worry.
मगर मैं यही बोल रहा हूँ कि नो सीरियस क्वेश्चन था एंड आई थिंक फैज आंसर दैट वेल बिकॉज पढ़ सकती राइट. अब कोई आके मार दिए तो फिर क्या करते हैं. लाइक 32 में नंबर दे दिया बट लेट्स से 20 to 36 रन राइट. एक पहले ओवर में मार दिया उसको कि भाई
हम्म.
शादाब आपका बेस्ट प्लेयर. एंड द रीजन आई एम सेइंग दिस, बेन स्टोक्स इज दैट टाइप ऑफ प्लेयर. यू हैव प्लेयर्स फ्रॉम बोथ टीम्स who want to attack your best bowler, right? If Shadab is maybe like of course there's a lot of amazing bowling in Pakistan, but if he's your highest leading wicket taker, Ben Stokes might say, "Bro, I'm gonna get you down, and then let's see what your captain does." And that's why I'm saying it, because I feel this is how both teams might approach this game, and that's why it was a serious question. Just the figure was exact to tease with.
Yeah, but if that hit 30 runs or whatever, if they get hit in the first over, it depends on how they're going to be getting hit as well. If it's a missed time or something, that'll still give the confidence on the bowler, and I think the captain will still continue with the next over with the same bowler. If it is like clean and clean, the bowler is just bowling loose balls, he's not in the rhythm, I think that's where it matters.
No.
Exactly.
I think you answered that well, Vinay. Thank you so much for that. But
Yeah, thanks for that poke again every episode.
No, you answered it well. But thank you so much for that.
मैं
And
next मैं next episode में I'm going to make a slide dedicated to Vinay, and I'm going to put in his figures and I'm going to put in everything, Mustafa, and you're going to do a whole show about Vinay. All right?
भैया मैं एक चीज बोलता हूँ. मैंने एक ओवर में 32 खाया. मैं मेरी बात सुनो. मेरे को 2016-17 में मैं पहले ओवर में 30 खाया. मेरे को फिर से ओवर दिए और मैं फिर से 26 खाया. तो आई हिट गॉट हिट फॉर 56 runs in 2 overs, bro. It was indoor, it was different, but yeah, so that's why I'm asking the question. I've been in the same
But
situation.
I think like Mustafa, in those 2 overs, Ben Stokes was batting against you, so that's
No. It wasn't that. I bowled and I bowled poorly, right?
You
So,
don't want to know who was batting against him.
but it was indoor, so that's why people ignore me and they highlight Vinay because Vinay got hit in the summer, so that's why. But this happens with spin bowling, and that's why it was a valid topic to discuss. Now I think this wraps up this segment. We have a few minutes left, so why not go into Vinay's favorite section, Vinay? It's time for Fresh Off the Press. If we can keep it more World Cup related, because it's just one match left, it'll be cool. But
There was nothing World Cup related except the rain prediction. I think that's the
we have
only
to
thing
talk
World
about
Cup
that.
related that is
We
there.
need to talk about that. Give us the permutation, the possibilities, dude.
95% possibilities of shower both on Sunday and Monday. So if that is the case,
Match के
then
time पे?
sorry,
Match के time पे?
yeah, both days it's predicted rain, and if that's the case, then they might have a joint winner, just like India and Sri Lanka was a joint winner at one point.
Yeah. What
So
Vinay forgot to mention is that Rahul Dravid is not going to be the coach for nice. We've been given rest. He's still the coach, but he's not.
you talked about you. What did you tell me that I am only allowed to talk about World Cup, and then you talk about Lakshman getting the.
आपका कुछ वर्ल्ड कप का खबर है और
गुंतलिका जेल में है, इतना याद है मेरे को.
but yeah, on a
Allegedly.
serious note, that's messed up, bro. Apparently,
Yeah, man. I mean, you lose the World Cup and you're not out of the World Cup. That's not the way you take out your frustration, I think.
Yeah, and that is he's been denied bail apparently.
And there was something like there was several on the victim. There were several like
choking
attempts.
choking.
Choke attempts. Yeah, I think that is. So
Chokers tag वो किसी और पे डाल रहा था बस.
No, that's messed up. Whatever happened, like that was unacceptable. We've seen that in football also, and people have been banished from football, and it happened
But Musi, quick question for you: do you think Babar Azam trade for Haider Ali and Shoaib Malik is a good deal?
For who?
For Karachi.
Man, I currently no. I think Babar going to Peshawar is a much better deal. And Shoaib Malik is at the end of his career. Haider Ali is too young, so I think Haider Ali is a really good player. And PSL he will perform. I know for Pakistan he hasn't performed yet, but he will perform, I think, in the PSL. So that's a good shout. But then you have Shoaib Malik, who's the end of his career. It could work out. I'm not saying that, but Babar Azam is Babar Azam, bro, right? So it depends on how you look at it. Because I'll tell you why I'm saying that. I got one thing very wrong. You remember when Sunrisers traded Dhawan for three players, which was Vijay Shankar and two other guys. I said Sunrisers had the better side of the deal because they got three players who can fit different roles, and I got that completely wrong. So that's why
Yeah.
my bold rule. Like that's the reason, one of the reasons I'm saying that. And Babar is, especially if he wins the World Cup, bro, he's going to be in ultra confidence. Pakistan pitches.
Yeah.
I think it comes down to the
So
experience and like कैसे तरीके से बैटर आप कौन सा बैट्समैन मिल रहा है आपको like just a triple trade that we had with one Shikhar Dhawan could win you a match in comparison to all those three batsmen who came to our team. So that's what makes the difference कि भाई Shikhar
अच्छे
Dhawan
player थे वो भी, like so that's why I thought we got the better.
proven नहीं थे जितना like you would want,
Yes.
So will you have Imad Wasim as captain of Karachi Kings then now?
The
There's
thing
no
is,
other captain.
I don't know what I would, but I don't know what Imad Wasim's situation is with Karachi Kings. But with Pakistan, he's out of sight, out of mind. And
Yeah, because if I see the retained players.
मेरे को एक चीज पूछना है, right? And this is like you can. It's a serious question because we've all done this. So I'm not targeting someone, okay? But you remember when Pakistan lost to Zimbabwe, Mohammad Amir came up with a tweet saying "Bekar board, Bekar selection, and everything," and we all said that. But how do you now? What happens? Like, what do these guys do now? Like, someone like when you're coming on, it's difficult. And the reason what I'm saying is what he said was not wrong at the time.
Yeah.
But the way Pakistan play their cricket is crazy. So is it best for panelists and everything to still give the reactions how it goes, or just reserve that reaction? Because if you're not reserving a reaction, then you're not giving the TV anything. So how do you go about it, Vinay? Like, because हम भी वही बोले यार क्या खेल रहे जिम्बाब्वे से हार गए ये वो तो इंग्लैंड भी आयरलैंड से हार गए. So how do you, especially from Pakistan's point of view, like this did come out. A lot of people said he sacked Babar. Shoaib Akhtar said that. Ab Shoaib Akhtar is uncha bol raha. He's saying that we're in the finals 92 Tigers this and that. But how would you do it? Like. Or how
I
do you
think
look
the
at
situation currently the situation in Pakistan, I think no one's happy with the management. No one's happy with the board at this point, especially the ex-players as well as some of the
But if
players
he's getting
like
contracts, you can't do anything.
Mohammad Amir, Imad Wasim. I don't think they're all happy with the current situation that Pakistan cricket is in, right? But if they're winning, they're going to support as a nation, right? And that's what they're probably like. When they're losing, they're criticizing immediately. When they're winning, I think they're supporting the nation. So that's all is happening. And from Amir's point of view, like he's playing PSL and everything, and that is more franchise cricket, and that's why he's playing that. I don't think he's interested in any of the domestic this thing. He's trying to just make money at this point, and that's why he's playing all these tournaments and stuff. So that's where it stands for them in their cricketing sense, and it's been going around not just for that team, but many teams like that right now with the international setup.
Yeah, in fact, lastly on this point only, the thing is it becomes very tricky, right? Because क्या होता अब last year उन लोग semi-final तक जब पहुंचे, everyone's like this is our team, boys, back Babar, back everything like that, and they did back him after the semi-finals. They didn't like say कि इसको निकाल दो or anything like that. फिर Asia Cup आया, Asia Cup के बाद बहुत criticism हुआ, even though they beat India in one of the games, they came to the finals, they were confident. अब मेरा ये सवाल है कि अब फाइनल पहुंच गया, राइट? अब जीत गए तो सवाल नहीं उठेंगी मैनेजमेंट पे. बाबर इज गोइंग टू स्टे एज कैप्टन, द मैनेजमेंट इज गोइंग टू बी द सेम, द कोचिंग स्टाफ विल बी देयर, राइट? But what Vinay said, it's not just Amir and stuff. There's a lot of people who do criticize the team management. Now, if they lose, are you going to say that कि भाई मैनेजमेंट को निकालो या let's back this management, at least they took us to the finals even though we lost to Zimbabwe? How would you like approach that if you're like in control of the decision?
I think I would be again like see we have to realize that one good
It's
result
really
is not going
tricky,
to
man.
change the
That's why
fact.
I'm
Now,
asking.
one good result doesn't change the fact of the past. I would say that because they go with India. It's been 7 years and 8 years or 9 years that we've not won anything and we're still not doing anything. But गालियां सब दे रहे, कुछ हो रहा नहीं. मेरे हिसाब से अगर पाकिस्तान ये वर्ल्ड कप जीतती है and in the fashion that they won this World Cup, I will not give them a backing. Like if I was a fan, I would not give them that backing because it wasn't a very good display honestly. The way they came back into it, okay, yes, वो एक मूवी में देखे तो आप मूवी देख के वाव बोलते हैं, बट बैक में जो एक्टर्स काम करते हैं आप उनके बारे में अगर सोचे तो दे हैवंट प्लेड दैट ग्रेट ऑफ क्रिकेट. तो मेरे लिए ये कॉल लेना इजी है बिकॉज आप पूरा साल का क्रिकेट देखो. आप एक टूर्नामेंट आप ये मत देखो कि भाई एक टूर्नामेंट में कैसे है. रादर गिव देम चांसेस एंड यू गिव देम चांसेस एट ईच स्टेज. इवन इन द वर्ल्ड कप, इवन इफ दे विन इट or even if they come to the final, that does not change the fact that Pakistan did mess up in a lot of games. You know, in a lot of games they were poor. In a lot of games they didn't show up. In a lot of games they were focused on individual performances. Captain नहीं करा कुछ, रिजवान भी नहीं करा कुछ. जो मैचेस में टर्न अप करना था वो सिचुएशनली, इवन यू कैन से दैट ऑपोजिशन ने हक दिया. साउथ अफ्रीका हक दी, वहाँ हॉलैंड साउथ अफ्रीका के अगेंस्ट हका दिए. ये सब चीजें आपके फेवर में आ गए जैसे अपन बात करते. तो आई थिंक इट कम्स टू दैट कि भाई हाउ each individual obviously looks at it under a microscope, but this is not, it shouldn't be so short-sighted कि एक टूर्नामेंट जीतने वाला बाकी के सब चीजें भूल जाओ.
And same thing with India as well. अगर कल इंडिया हारी इसलिए इतना क्रिटिसिज्म निकला कि मैनेजमेंट का ये इशू है, वो इशू है, सब कुछ सारे बोलने लगे. एंड यही अगर इंडिया जीत जाती बातें नहीं होती, राइट?
भाई कुछ नहीं होता वहां पे. एयरपोर्ट पे हार होते, फूल होते और यू नो मिठाइयां
Exactly.
बांटते थे सब करते.
और
कोई ये नहीं बोल.
इतना जल्दी भी स्विच होता. लास्ट वर्ल्ड कप में बोल रहे थे रोहित कोहली उन लोगों को हटा दो, ये वो. एशिया कप में दे गॉट नॉकड आउट, बट देन विराट कोहली गॉट दैट 100, रोहित शर्मा गॉट दैट
Simple.
इनिंग्स. People weren't criticizing, but now they're back onto की like पुराने
सिंपल
खिलाड़ी.
दो लोगों का बोलता हूँ मैं, सॉरी गाइस, सिंपल दो लोगों का बोलता हूँ. अर्शदीप का बोलता हूँ, शामी का बोलता हूँ. गालियां कितने पड़े दोनों को. एंड हम जब शामी को परफॉर्मेंस डाला, अरे शामी जैसा कोई बॉलर नहीं है, अरे अर्शदीप जैसा तो कोई मेंटालिटी नहीं है. अपने वालों का ऐसा फेकल माइंडेडनेस बहुत है. ऑन देयर ऑल वेयर हीट ऑफ द मोमेंट जो बोलते ना, वो हीट ऑफ द मोमेंट में बोल दिया था हमने, अभी तो हमारा ही बच्चा है, फिर हारेंगे फिर गालियां. तो ये फिकल माइंडेडनेस बहुत है अपने, एटलीस्ट सब कॉन्टिनेंट में तो बहुत है.
So that's wouldn't you back then Babar then?
Yeah.
You would?
No, I personally went back Babar based on this whole World Cup. Okay. And the performances back. Because देखो भाई अपन consistently we're looking at him under a microscope. It's not just कि भाई एक टूर्नामेंट अच्छा खेलने से उसका अगले टूर्नामेंट में फिर हक देंगे तो that's going to be a repeated dose again. So you do, when you're carrying on the captain, you give him a good amount of time. You give the coach a good amount of time. You give the thing. अब द्रविड़ जैसा proven है, अब द्रविड़ को एक वर्ल्ड कप की वजह से बिठा दिए. But in the under 19 he won the World Cup. So what are you going to look at? You're going to look at that, right? You're not going to just look at one bad tournament. You're going to look at a series. You give them some time.
For Rahul Dravid, I think it's more on the authority side. That's where he's lacking, and that's where he's probably not able to shine. And he probably didn't. If you had previously seen, Dravid always denied that he never wanted India the coach job because of these reasons. Because he also kind of knows that once he comes into the setup, he's not able to do what he wants to do, and he's a silent person in that regard. When he was playing for India days or anything, he's not someone who's that vocal and stuff. So it's different scenarios in that regard. But overall, I think it's always like as long as you're winning, the criticism doesn't show up. As soon as, and it's the fans' mentality. It's the emotional nature that everyone has. It's all depends on how the team performs at that point.
Exactly.
100%, man. I think with that, it wraps it up, boys. Thank you so much for joining me. Sunday, hopefully we'll have the finals, but regardless, we'll try to join you tomorrow and give you the preview. We'll talk a bit more, but I think today we did discuss a lot of things about both teams, and we'll get a better idea of in terms of who's going to play, who's not going to play, what the reign is, what has been said in the pressers, and yeah, we'll take it from there. Thank you so much, Vinay. Thank you, Fez. I think it was great analysis today. Really enjoyed that show, and catch you very soon. Enjoy the rest of the day, guys. Take care.